Okay, guys, in today's video, I'm going to go over my 100 and 200 from my season openers in Lee Valley and Bromley to see how I was actually performing in the race and if I could have gone better, which obviously I could have. First video is the 100 at Lee Valley, where I ran 11.8 with minus 4.8 win. Okay, so we have to start. Well, that mass over there is me. Uh, quite high in the blocks for the hip positioning, which is good. The guy next to me is the guy that wins the race. He had the slowest reaction in the entire field for the first step. A lot of us already had our steps down before he probably coming out blocks. Look, whilst he's still pushing, I've already got my first step down. So is everyone else. But considering my abilities, I should have been able to pull away from here, but I didn't. Because me and him should have battled at the end. But that never happened because the wind was so heavy. But I'm coming out of the blocks with good angles. You see this foot is coming straight forwards, it's not coming up. But this foot back here, you can literally just watch that cycle straight up, which is very good. So there can be improvements done on that. And if you look at this guy, let's look at his back foot. You can just see him do what I was supposed to have done for mine, which is just drive it forwards and push, but I didn't really do that. That's one, two, but then that second step was quite long as well. The angle of attack could have been better. And three, four. Now my arm, you can just watch my arms. You can see me driving, 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 driving. And right about here, I'm pretty much joint first with everyone. I might even be lagging by a small amount, but for me that's about normal. We can get a better angle at the line. Yeah, we're all about the same. Everyone else, well, the five of us are about in line with each other. But once we're upright here, because I think this is about the 13th or 14th step. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. Yeah, I didn't count properly, but it's about 13, 14. We're up right now. And now we've come out of the drive and we're starting to transition up to top speed. And the wind right here just slams straight into you backwards. I felt this and I was about to start to get into my stride and then I never could. But this guy right next to me, he had no problems whatsoever. He just kept going whilst I was struggling to try and move at all. I'm even surprised I came third. And I'm trying to push, push, push. Everyone starts to separate here because sort of speed for everyone's different. And you can see that my legs have some pretty big stride length. My form's quite good considering the fact I want to get my leg up that high. Quite happy with that. But I think it's the next step. Because if you look, let me get that angle. So if you look here and on this step, look at the leg on the floor. You can just watch that completely separate, extend backwards, and then the front leg is about 90 degrees to my torso, but the next leg doesn't do that, which has been annoying me for a while. Comes down this leg, which is great, and then just watch goes on knee down. We extend a bit, and then my leg just flicks off the ground. And this front leg is that looks like actually why I say look, we can just find out. Mm, let's do it to the floor. So that's 66 degrees, but of hip extension. But if we go back one, actually, we can go forwards one second. Actually, let's go back. We go to here. I think it was there. Do the same thing. you can see 78 degrees roughly. So 66 to 78, that's a big difference because it takes time for my foot to get on the ground. And the less hip extension I have, the less power I'm able to produce and the more time I'm spending on the ground. I'm pretty sure I counted and it took me 54 steps to cover 100 when at the end of my season last year, we was doing 50 steps repeatedly. And I was hopefully waiting to make a step breakthrough to 49, but it never happened. But the fact that this leg keeps just cycling through really slow is kind of detrimental to my speed. Everything on the backside is good. I have no problems with that. But the leg just comes through. Just look right there. The leg comes through and then it just drops. And if I could get the knee to come up a bit higher, I'd be able to be more powerful, evident by the other leg, which does a great job of doing it. And from there, the race, nothing changed. And one of my top speeds, it's really hard to pass me. It's never happened before. Don't think it ever will, hopefully. But the position stayed the same. And we finished this in third. But the same problems that hindered me in 100 followed me, unfortunately, to the two, which isn't very nice for me. But we ended this race running 11.8 with minus 4.8 wind. I just can't run very well with wind, but that's not an excuse for this technical error on this step. Because if it's happening here, it's probably happening well earlier on. But it's just because of the angle of the camera, it's not very obvious to see. Because I want that to happen as little as possible. But if that's happening, then every single one of every other one of my steps is being cut short by a decent amount, and that's something that I want to happen. Okay, next we have the 200 where I ran 22.76 with minus 0.3 wind. I'm right there. For those of you that watched the video on both of these races, you know I came second in this, and the block start was not the best. This is actually what spurred me on for my next race, my next 200, where I didn't run as fast, but I had the best bend ever. That's gonna be in the cards. Came out of the blocks. Things were about the same as they usually are. My start, there was nothing wrong with my start technique, but you can just see that I kind of just pop up really early. I have the same problem in the 100, but it's way worse in the two because I'm not able to use my 60, the benefits that I made from my 60 in the 200, but I can use it in the 100 because it's a straight line. But in the 200, you've got a bend. And because of that bend, it makes it harder for you to have a good drive. And considering the fact that I managed to move my 60-meter time from 7:49 to 7:16, the fact that I'm not able to properly utilize that is a detriment, a big detriment towards my 200, which in later training sessions I worked on trying to fix with my coach. But I wanted to be able to come out of the blocks, not so much lower, because obviously I do, but have positioning similar to what I'm expecting to have out of the blocks, but I'm not able to have that. And another thing that has annoyed me for the longest time is the fact that when I come out of the blocks in a 200, I'm running it like it's an 800 meter. I just come out so slow, so pedestrian like. If he was to count, if I was to put out the PBs of the people in this race for the 100, no, it's not even looking at the two, for the 100, and we could probably guess what they'd be able to run on a bend with that. Everyone who is running a second slower than me, I would be matching in the bend. I didn't pass anyone in the bend. I just ran it kind of normally, I guess you could say, not trying to exert too much energy, trying to build up a bit of momentum, but I just ran it and then I came around near the front because whilst I'm running a bit, whilst I'm running the bend quite slow, for my standard, it's still quite fast out of everyone else. But again, these types of mistakes they build. and they allow people like this man to come out of absolutely nowhere and win the race. Because if we ignore me, if we just track what he was doing throughout this entire race, you can see what's going on. So he's in lane two, I want to say. Let me just find out. Is he in lane two? No, he's in lane one, which makes it even more impressive. He's in lane one. Um, and the guy next to him, I know him. He trains at my club back home. He runs about 24, and I think in this race he ran low 24s, if I remember right. He ran 23:72 in this specific race, and if you just look at what happens out of blocks for this guy, you can just literally watch him pass so quick. Let's actually count steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. It took him 27 steps to pass him, who's run 23:72 in this race. This guy, by the way, he also runs, I think it's mid 21s. I think his PB is like 21.4. But he didn't run that because it was lane one, obviously. Whilst me, he got me right there. This is the guy on my outside. Still haven't caught him. He came third in the end, the guy I'm highlighting with me. But I should have been, make another bubble. I should have been at least there. But I'm lagging by that much, which isn't very good. You could almost say that we're probably in about the same positioning, me and him, that we were out of the blocks. Nothing's actually changed. I'm sure if we compare that, it's about the same distance. Yeah, nothing's actually really changed. We're just running same speed. And yeah, this guy did end up breaking 23 in the 200. I don't remember what time he ran, but he did break it. But I run 11:18. He probably runs high 11s. And maybe mid 11s, I'll be nice. And the fact that there's such a closeness at the start just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be happening. So I need to be able to run this 100 way faster than I currently am, because the only time I actually start to pass him is about, yeah, this is when we were about even. I remember this. And I decided to just focus on my form to go around. You can even actually see him come around the bend a bit better than me. He came around the bend faster than I did, but his form started to break down in the straight. If you just look at him, look at his shoulders and his arms. Do that again. Just look at his shoulders and his arms. You just see them twisting side to side. Whilst if you just compare that to mine, it's a straight line, forwards and back, forwards and back. And you can see similar things for everyone else. Like, let's look at this guy. He's rotating sideways, sideways, sideways. In fact, he hasn't even properly realized he's off the bend. You can actually kind of see him still leaning over onto the side a bit in that direction. If you just look at this shoulder, he's kind of just he kind of seems like he still thinks he's going around the bend somehow. Maybe just has a shoulder problem, but regardless, it's not very good for him. Then look at this guy. Me and him technique very similar. Forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards and backwards. And the fact that I'm only finished, I want to say one step ahead of this guy when our technique is so different is problematic, because I should be making this guy feel like he's not about to win, because he already knows he's going to win, because he can tell by this point. If no one's even near him, because he has 2 steps on me by this point. If no one's even near him by this point, he's not going to have a problem beating me or anyone else in the field. But the fact that I'm just a step ahead of the person on my left and he's running like that just shows that I have wasted so much energy somewhere and I haven't used it effectively. Which brings us all the way back to what the guy that won did, that I sort of did. So he comes out of blocks good, but that's not what I want to talk about, because if you count step 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that fourth step, his heel is basically touching his glutes, and he does the same thing with his next step, sort of. instead of leaving him. What's really impressive is that step there. That's probably, I wasn't counting, 7, 8, maybe 9 steps. He's really extending his legs and his glutes are touching his heel, or his heels are touching his glutes, and he just comes through with as little energy as possible. And he maintains that. It's actually counting the steps he did to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 steps. And let's look at me for 8 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see that my leg is coming through at my knee instead of coming through much higher. But I do what he does. 1, 2, 3, 11 steps. To be 11 steps. So 3 steps later. And I want to say that combined with him running the bend way more aggressive than I did, led him to have no problems going around and beating me. And a combination of a more efficient 200-meter technique all culminated to him winning, especially when it comes to what was going on around this bend. Because you can literally see him make up the stagger, whilst me, nothing's really going on. And the reason why I say that is important is because if we traded spots, he would have run much faster than what he did run. But if we did trade spots, the guy next to me, he would have flown by. Whilst I didn't, I only ended up matching him, which is problematic. Because you can actually, if you look at our steps, he's sort of leading because his step is in front of the line whilst my step from the line just happens. And yes, it does happen slightly ahead. I mean, this guy, by the way. Yes, it does happen slightly ahead of where his one did. Go back one, you can see it. His is on the line whilst mine is about there. I think it's slightly in front of the line. But I should have been at least in line with this guy, and he's way ahead of us over there. And I think he just has a step on us by this point, but the gap just starts to widen. And he ends up getting 2 steps and nothing changes for us, whilst for him, he just continues to fly by. And that's where you see the gap truly widen, and it becomes extremely obvious that we're nowhere near him because he's got this. That a bit wrong. He's got this massive gap on us, 2 steps. That's about five-ish meters, and we just can't do anything to catch him. I've got, I want to say, half a step on the guy right behind me, and I should be, again, if not next to this guy, I would say maybe at least about on his heels right there. But that's not happening. So you've got 3 cool lines that I put in for almost no reason because I want to put them in. And I should be on the middle line, and I'm nowhere near there. And the middle line at least because I have the ability to make this guy lose, especially considering the fact that he's in lane 1. He's in lane 1, he's running a second slower than what he's able to. And I wasn't even running this 200 all out because I came around a bend and I wasn't sure if I had enough energy to continue to hit the track hard. So I just focused on maintaining my form and staying open. But he's moving whilst I'm not, and I need to focus on that first 120-ish meters so that the final 80 I can come home harder. And when we get way closer to here, and I'm running, me and this man are neck and neck, and I should be there. There shouldn't be any problems with me trying to catch him. I should be in line with him and even considering to pass him. If he was in a different lane, it'd be a different story because he would be able to come around much harder, use less energy. But the fact that I'm so far back and he's running a second slower than what he has shown himself to be able to do, is a problem that I need to fix moving forwards.